welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Ciriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I am your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing pretty well. I'll admit I haven't watched a ton of baseball over the last weekend. I've been in Boston hanging out with some friends, but I did get as much as I can done. I watched some games. I saw the Red Sox. They're doing pretty well, and we'll get to that later. But it's been a pretty seemingly interesting weekend of baseball. You had history being made on Friday. You had some comeback. You had a big comeback win on Saturday, I believe.
A big comeback win on Saturday.
Or no, today, the Mariners today.
Oh, right. Yeah, they scored 8 unanswered against the Twins.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I did not catch that. Yeah, they were down 6-0, and then they came back. Yeah, so a big comeback win there. A big comeback story that we'll get into.
Yeah.
And we'll start off with what happened on Friday night, which was the first Padres no-hitter in history, brought to you by San Diego native Joe Musgrove. Pretty crazy stuff.
I feel like we kind of saw this coming. Like, I remember you had a lot of expectations coming for him in San Diego after that trade.
A little bit. Like his, I'm not saying, this ties into a no-hitter, but him improving, he hasn't given up a run yet in his 2 starts. His expected ERA was pretty much always lower than his actual ERA, and he was not the Pirates defense didn't benefit him, and now the Padres defense probably will benefit him, especially whenever Tatis Jr. comes back. But he's leaving Pittsburgh, so that adds a whole nother element to it. So not saying it would lead to a no-hitter right off the bat, but obviously the guy's looking amazing.
That's what happened. Yeah, I mean, it's very weird to think that the Padres never had a no-hitter. Like, it's not like they're a relatively new team. They've been around since, I think, like the 60s or something like that, 60s or 70s. But, I mean, they were the only team who
never had one. 53rd season.
Yeah. So, but you know what? Like, it was bound to happen. This is – we've been talking so much on how it's bound to be such a magical year for the Padres. And right off the bat, we're getting the first Padre no-hitter. And we've been it's been a pretty relatively known thing for a long time that the Padres were the only team that didn't have one. Like, I don't know, who was the 29th team? Was it the Rays when Matt Garza did it? Or was it the Rockies when Ubaldo Jimenez did it?
When did Ubaldo Jimenez do it?
I want to say like 2009.
Those probably happened around the same time. Diamondbacks didn't have to wait too long.
No. Okay, Ubaldo Jimenez was in 2010. I'll check when Matt Garza's was.
Yeah, those are like same era.
That was also in 2010, I think. July 26, 2010.
Back to
Ubaldo Jimenez, who did it in April. So the Rays were the 29th team, I believe. I mean, I don't think
11 years ago.
The Marlins.
Yeah, the Marlins.
I think the Marlins had one pretty early in their history.
Okay.
They've had like 4 or something like that. Like, I know Edinson Volquez was the last one to do it.
Yeah, they had Volquez, Henderson Alvarez, I think. And then
they had some others. Al Leiter did it in 96. That's right, because people were talking about Al Leiter's no-hitter when Jack Leiter threw his.
Oh, yeah. That was 3 years into their – that was in their 4th season.
Yeah. But that was
So yeah,
pre-World Series.
so yeah, like the amount of teams that have come to form since the Padres who have gotten a no-hitter before them, like that's the Mariners, the
Royals?
the Royals came into existence, I believe, the same year the Padres did.
Okay.
Yeah, the Mariners, the Rockies, Marlins,
Diamondbacks, Rays.
Diamondbacks, Rays. There's been 5 teams that have come in existence, while the
And they were very spaced out too. It's not like it was a couple of years of separation.
yeah, very much so. Yeah, the Diamondbacks and Rays came in 29 years after the Padres.
Yeah.
Pretty wild that never occurred. I mean, I guess, who.
And they had some good pitchers too. Like Kevin Brown was awesome in that 98 season. Andy Ashby, Sterling Hitchcock. Like they had a lot of good pitchers. Even like more modern, like Dinelson Lamet, guys like that too.
Jake Peavy won a Cy
Jake
Young.
Peavy. Yeah, Jake Peavy won a Cy Young.
Yeah. Pretty wild that never happened. Even like it doesn't even have to be the best pitcher. We saw Alec Mills deliver one.
Alec Mills, the luckiest no-hitter in the history of the world.
Like, yeah, on an average day, that's probably like 6 innings, 2 runs allowed. But not the most dominating in any way.
Sometimes the stars align.
Sometimes you just get that one in a million chance of having that type of day and getting that result, and it happens. But yeah, there was a storyline. I didn't know that Joe Musgrove was actually from San Diego until mentioned on the broadcast, and I guess it's a good recipe that he was facing the Rangers.
Yeah, because the Padres just can't stop delivering death blows to Texas. As far as karma.
Yeah, Okay, so Musgrove was drafted out of Grossmont High School out of El Cajon, California, which I imagine
is near San Diego.
Near San Diego.
Yeah. Like south of it or something.
Yeah. All right, let's look at El Cajon on a map in California. But yeah, it's pretty fitting, and it only took the guy 2 starts in a Padres uniform.
Yeah. Like, talk about a first impression in a season where you have some pretty high expectations. And I know that, like, people are going to draw the Pirates comparisons, which I think is just really cheap and outdated at this point, because I don't think it's within scouting. I think it's within development. But that's a different story. But yeah, I mean, like, coming right over from Pittsburgh and, proving yourself worthy of being, like, in need of a change of scenery right off the bat when you're expected to be competing for a division with a super team. Like, that's huge.
Yeah, right. And he wasn't even, when you thought of the Padres rotation, he was maybe the 4th guy or even beyond that you thought about.
Yeah. And
here he comes looking like the best pitcher on the staff as of now. I'm going to share the screen here of where El Cajon is. Yeah, little west of San Diego. So I imagine, it's probably a little suburb of San Diego for the viewers on YouTube. But yeah.
Not to mention, he also had, first of all, he had a game score of 97. That's pretty impressive. His complete line was 9 hits, no runs, no walks, no hits, and 10 strikeouts. I'm assuming was the one base runner hit by pitch, was it an error? What was that?
Yeah, it was a first pitch hit by pitch to Joey Gallo in the 4th inning.
Yeah. Yep, it was.
Just one mistake.
Well, you know what? Hey, very few are perfect. There's a reason there haven't been any perfect games in nearly 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it might not have to do necessarily with the Pirates either, because Joe Musgrove is on an absolute trend right now in general. Since September, or his last 4 starts last year consisted of a 1.64 ERA in 22 innings pitched, and I believe his strikeout rate went up quite a bit. So I mean, I think this guy's just pretty much on the rise, and one of the dark horse pitchers out there right now.
Absolutely. I mean, the reason I talked about the Pirates is like you're always going to see that stuff on social media where it's like the Pirates could have had Cole and they could have had Glass now and they could have had Meadows and they could have had Archer and they could have had Musgrove now. Like, I think that's just really cheap at this point. Like, first of all, we get it, but second of all, like, that all those people started thriving once they left Pittsburgh. Like, Tyler Glasnow was awful before he left Pittsburgh. Austin Meadows was pretty good, but like, Glasnow was awful. Cole was not the same. Cole had like basically one good year in Pittsburgh. Like, it's just, I think it's really cheap to come out the Pirates for stuff like that, because it's not that they are giving up on these guys too early. It's that there's something going on within development that just isn't working.
Yeah, I know that they still preach the idea of throwing low fastballs in the age of launch angle, which just is very, very outdated at this point. Like, their pitching development is about 15 years late. But yeah, I mean, that's just a conversation to be had within the organization. And yeah, also, if the Pirates could not have had Cole and Musgrove together, because
no, there's no way
they were traded for each other.
That's true, but not only that, but Cole was a free agent.
Yeah,
like under no circumstances were they getting him, even if he stayed with them throughout his whole 6-year contract initially.
Yeah, let's not forget who the owner is also.
Yeah, that's not happening. I don't want to make this about the Pirates, though. This is about the San Diego Padres. Joe Musgrove's game score of 97 was only the third game score of 97 in San Diego Padres history. The other two were Clay Kirby in 1971, where he had a classic 15-inning start, which is, I mean, you don't see that anymore. The other one was Andy Bennis in 1994, where he went 9 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 walk, 13 strikeouts.
So yeah, the only the second one in a 9-inning game.
Exactly, the first one since '94.
Yeah, first one since.
I mean, this was obviously a historic outing. I mean, you could probably make a case that it's the best pitching performance in the history of the franchise. I mean, it's very easy to make that case when it's the only no-hitter. Yeah,
it is, and especially a no-hitter without any walks either.
Facing the minimum.
Yeah.
Oh no, not the minimum. He faced one more than the minimum.
Yeah, he faced 28 batters, got 27 of them out, struck out 10. Very dominant performance.
It was efficient.
And
he only had 112 pitches too. Like, that is not that many.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you don't walk anybody.
All things considered, like, there's been so much talk about, like, the games are on the rise, like the game times are so bad. It's because at bats are longer. Like, people are fighting off these foul balls. They're drawing walks. Like a 3-pitch strike, like a 6-pitch strikeout is an out, but it's going to take a lot longer than a 2-pitch ground out. And we're seeing a lot more of the strikeouts now. Yeah.
I mean, that's also, it does tie into the like balls in play thing. Strikeouts are up, so obviously, it's harder. Whether it's on the pitchers or the hitters.
Yeah. Not to mention, this was also Trent Grisham's first game back from the IL.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I think he homered today.
Yeah. Maybe he can have back-to-back 10-10 seasons. See if he's able.
It'd be very impressive if he could get another one down this year.
But yeah. But whether it's on the hitters or the pitchers, at bats are going longer because guys are not putting the ball in play at the same rate. There's more foul balls, more swings and misses, more, balls being taken, more strikes being taken. So obviously that'll drag the thing out.
That, and I feel like a lot of teams are preaching like working counts, like take a long at bat, try to be in there for like 6, 7, 8 pitches. Work the pitch count, because then you're going to tire the guy out and they're going to go through a carousel of relievers. Like, I feel like that's kind of preached within organizations.
Yeah. Moneyball probably did a lot of that. Yeah. You don't see as many free swingers out there. It's a lot more rare guys with, you know, of guys with a small difference in average and on base percentage. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, whether you like it or not, this is baseball now. This is 21st century baseball.
Yeah. So on to another subject, another pitching performance where also I believe there were no hits allowed, but this was
not as impressive, but
this
impressive on the context.
Yeah, this was over about 2 innings of work. Brent Honeywell, who, you know, if you were following, you know, the top 100 prospects for the past, you know, 5 years, he's been near the top of the Rays list every
and the
single
national list.
Yeah, and the national list. I believe he was in the top 15 before 2018, and that's gone down a bit because he's undergone 4 surgeries in the past 4 years, or 3.5 years, I believe. And finally, he has found he's found himself on a major league mound. Pretty crazy.
I'm so happy for this guy. Like, people, there are very few individuals in Major League Baseball who have gone through more just to get to that point than Brent Honeywell. Like, you know, you obviously have your Trey Mancinis, your Jamison Tyons, and, you know, all respect to them. Like, they went through more than anyone should ever have to get back on a Major League mound. But Brent Honeywell, this was all to get on one in the first place. I remember in 2017, the Rays opted not to call him up in September, which kind of surprised a lot of people, which led to a Tommy John surgery pre-2018, and then another surgery pre-2019, and then he opted out of 2020. So he's been through pretty much everything you can imagine. Today his outing was not about whether he won or lost, whether he struck out a bunch of guys, whether he gave up runs. It was all about the fact that he was on a major league mound for the first time in his career.
Yeah, you know, there were probably a lot of times where he thought about giving up and not, you know, following through with his major league dream because it's probably was very hard on him. But yeah, he delivers today. 2 innings, no base runners, 2 strikeouts against a very good Yankees lineup, and yeah, did the job. It was completely unexpected. He was at the alternate training site and was scheduled to make a start there, and
Chris Archer went down.
Chris Archer was scratched, and Brent Honeywell comes up, and he probably will be a contributor throughout the year. He'll be just one of those members of the stable.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope. I think like everyone should be rooting for Brent Honeywell, regardless of what you think of the Rays. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what particular thing people would have against the Rays if you're under the age of 55 years old, but
yeah,
you know, they are making changes to the game, but you should be rooting for this guy. Like, he has been through more than anyone should ever be able to go through. He's had to work his way up to get to just the point of being there, and to see him succeed, I think would be the best thing for baseball.
Yeah, it's a very good story. It would be nice to see him succeed over a full season. Yeah, it's a great story for that young man and the Rays organization.
And just to give you an idea, he hasn't pitched in the minors since 2017 either.
Right. Yeah. He's
like,
just.
This was a very, a sort of aggressive call up for the Tampa Bay Rays. Like, they really did not waste any time.
Yeah. No, they didn't. It must have been a conversation that they had with him, and this was probably his first year in the minors. You know what you can consider the minors. I don't know really what the alternate training site is, but this is his first time in professional baseball in a very long time, and all of a sudden you're starting against the Yankees.
Exactly. I mean, that adds a whole nother element to it. Like, you know, obviously you go through all that and that's ridiculous, but if you were to take all that out and say the Rays are calling up a guy who hasn't pitched in the minors who hasn't pitched in professional baseball since 2017, like, that alone is very impressive that he was able to work his way up there.
Yeah. It must have had the reputation enough, had the trust from the Rays organization to get there, and followed through with it. Very good performance out of him, and look forward to seeing him on the mound. Probably, he'll probably be up and down in the minors or whatever.
As long as he's there and he's healthy.
As long as he's able to express his talent throughout a full major league career, because we know he's good. So the last subject we'll get into before our How About That's slightly alarming statistics and the preview of the week ahead. Our favorite team finally giving us something to cheer about. First time in a couple years. They're on a 6-game win streak. This started against the Tampa Bay Rays last Monday and continued with a sweep of the Baltimore Orioles. They really flipped the switch pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, what a turnaround for the Boston Red Sox. You go into that opening weekend against the Baltimore Orioles. Everything's bad. The offense is very bad. The pitching was subpar, just to put it nicely, I guess. And a team that had pretty, I feel like not too much expectations. I mean, we both had them finishing 4th. To come back and really flip the switch, that is huge for the momentum of the season going forward. I mean, JD Martinez is hitting the crap out of the ball. Christian Vazquez has been doing very well. Devers has been heating up. Bogarts has been heating up. Verdugo's been heating up. He hit his first home run of the season today as well. And they still have guys that need to get going. But I mean, there's very real. This might be the most optimistic Red Sox fans should have been since 2018.
Yeah, because 2019, there was the only ray of sunshine I can think of is when they won those 3 games against the Yankees, but then that immediately crumbled.
And then we immediately went on an 8-game losing streak. That was the most optimistic I think we were in 2019. 2020 was obviously there was no reason to ever be optimistic except for on opening day.
Yeah. So for context here, during this hit streak, they are hitting .332 with a .955 OPS. They also, on the pitching side of things, even with today allowing 9 runs, while they're hitting .332 with a .955 OPS, they have a .357 ERA. Coming into Sunday, it was a 2.57 ERA, and that was 7th in the majors, but that probably goes down a little bit. And coming into Sunday, they were 2nd in OPS, but they were behind the Reds, and the Reds, I believe, got shut out today.
They did.
So
by Luke Weaver.
Luke Weaver, who was a player to watch in 2020 and probably will do better this year than he did last year.
I hope so.
Yeah, they probably overtake the Reds in terms of offensive rankings since last Monday, not the date of this recording. And also during this win streak, they're outscoring opponents 53-25. That's close to 9 runs per game scored and about 4 runs per game allowed from the Red Sox. And do you?
I have a couple.
You have, there's probably some individual performances that we.
Mine is just a note on today's game. The Red Sox hit 6 home runs as a team today. 3 of them were from JD Martinez. I believe Devers had 2, and Alex Verdugo had 1. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's it. Am I missing any?
For home runs, that's the
complete list.
Yeah.
This was the first game that the Red Sox had 6 home runs since June of 2019, and it's only the 4th of such game that they've had since the 2014 season. So today in particular was a big day for the Red Sox against the Orioles.
Yeah, it was an absolute home run parade. It felt like every time I looked up, the ball was going out of the yard there. I'm gonna look for some individual statistics for some guys because
just put out JD Martinez's entire season.
Yeah, JD Martinez, he was going even during the losing streak. So
I think he has an extra base hit in every single game so far. JD.
Could be how about that? How many other guys have had an extra base hit every game.
Ian Brown had a tweet. Let me find this. Ian Brown had a tweet today about it where he said, hang on.
So Fangraphs doesn't have Sunday's game yet because we are recording on Sunday, but Xander Bogaerts in his 4 games during the, at the time, 5-game win streak was hitting .533 with a 1211 OPS. Christian Vasquez was hitting .409 with a whatever 435 plus 773 is.
Good.
A 1208 OPS. So Christian Vasquez had a 1208 OPS during the streak. And yeah, well, those are just on the wins above replacement leaders. I could probably filter by team.
You probably could. So anyway, this tweet is from Ian Brown, MLB.com, where he said, if JD gets an extra base hit tomorrow in Minnesota, he will set an all-time record for most consecutive games starting a season with an extra base hit.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, that's big time.
That's a how about that in the making. Yeah. During the winning streak coming into Sunday, Bogaerts had a 1211 OPS. JD Martinez had a 1228, and that's probably low for him on the season. Probably brought it down. Vasquez 1208, Devers 946. That's going to increase dramatically after the stats come in for Sunday. Verdugo 910, and yeah, those are the qualified hitters, and their pitching looks pretty good too. Outside of even like Garrett Richards had a good start on Saturday.
Saturday, he did pretty well. Yeah, I mean, like there's reason to be optimistic in Boston, and maybe right now it's cautious optimism because we are so early into the season, and maybe things will even out. But regardless, like this team, they have potential to make a run at the playoffs. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. Eovaldi's had 2 good starts. Pivetta, I would consider, has had 2 good starts, even though he gave up a 3-run homer in like the 6th. But when you're up 10-1 and you give up a home run,
it's a garbage time.
Yeah, it's not really meaningful. These aren't like stress pitches being thrown.
Eduardo Rodriguez is back from the IL.
Yeah, I was about to say Tanner Houck, but nope, he's not in the rotation.
Very weird, but that's the reality right now. Martin Perez did pretty well in his 1 outing, I believe.
Yeah, he did, and he's starting on Monday
against his former team.
That's true, former team.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's looking pretty good right now. Cautiously optimistic, but they swept the Rays.
They did, and they won 2 out of 3 against the Yankees this weekend.
Yeah, if the Red Sox swept the Orioles and the Tigers, yeah, I wouldn't be this optimistic. But when you sweep the Rays, when you sweep the defending American League champions, you sweep the defending American League champions.
Yeah, regardless of how their offseason was, that's very impressive.
Yeah, and I feel like their offense their offseason wasn't the worst in the world. They just lost 2 starting pitchers, and yeah, we both have them as a playoff team. But yeah, I think that leads into our players to highlight for right and wrong reasons. First, we'll start off with this Monday, April 12th, 2021 edition of. How about that? So, who do you have to highlight?
All right, so I'm gonna list out some people here, Chris. And this is a relatively big list, but it's going to lead into my player. So there are 18 players in baseball right now who have had at least 16 batted balls of at least 95 miles per hour in exit velocity since the start of the season. And in no particular order, they are Corey Seager, Manny Machado, Paul Goldschmidt, Ronald Acuna Jr., Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Trevor Story, Tyler Naquin, who's had a very good start to the season, Kyle Seager, Jose Altuve, Rhys Hoskins, Yuli Gurriel, Eric Hosmer, Marcus Semien, JD Martinez, Byron Buxton, Nelson Cruz. That's actually 16 players because they They put Altuve on the list twice for whatever reason. But the last player on this list is a man named Phillip Evans. And many of you may be asking who Phillip Evans is, and I would have been too, but he was actually the Pirates' replacement third baseman for when Ke'Bryan Hayes went down. He was not in the opening day lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates, but he has been crushing the ball all season. Let me tell you about Phillip Evans, because, I mean, you're already talking about the names he was on that list with 16 batted balls hit above 95 miles per hour. He went into Sunday with a slash line of 391, 462, 826 for a 1288 OPS. And probably the most impressive thing about him is that he has a hard hit ball in 39% of his swings. When he swings the bat, 39% of the time, it results in a hard hit ball. That includes the swings and misses. That includes foul balls. That includes every time he swings the bat. That 39%, it leads the majors. And the next closest is Ronald Acuna with 33.3. So it's not even particularly close. And he also came into Sunday as the only player in the majors with 200 plus weighted runs created plus and a K percentage below 9%. So Phillip Evans, he wasn't in the starting lineup for the consensus worst team in baseball on opening day, which probably, that's probably not a good sign, but he has been absolutely making it all worth it for him this season so far.
That's a very intriguing intriguing guy right there. I'm gonna look up this guy. I want to see how old he is. I want to see what is
dive in, Chris.
He's 28. He played 2 years on the Mets, played 34 games combined, played 11 games for the Pirates last year. I mean, career 132 OPS plus. Look at that. I mean, that's better than
and he's got a 222 this season.
Yeah, 132 OPS plus. I think Joe Morgan might have had that, or it was like 130. So he's on a good track.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's, Ke'Bryan Hayes was like the consensus reason to watch the Pirates this year. He obviously goes down, and Phillip Evans picks up right where he would have left off.
Or actually, now I got to look up where he's played in his career, because he probably shouldn't focus on playing third base if Ke'Bryan Hayes is gonna.
No, he's got to stay in the lineup.
Yeah, Phillip Evans. I'm looking at trying to get his standard fielding here, but it looks like he plays a lot of positions. Oh, he's pitched.
Well, he pitched in a blowout recently.
He pitched this year.
He pitched in a blowout, and he also hit a home run in that game. There are two players. In fact, there are two players to homer and pitch in the same game in 2021. They are Shohei Ohtani and Phillip Evans.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is very intriguing. He pitched a perfect inning.
I can't believe I just got one by you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wasn't digging deep enough. Yeah, he's played 21 career games at third base, 5 in the outfield, 4 at second base.
So he can go really wherever, because
2 at first base, 1 at pitcher.
Regardless of where he goes, he's got to be in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking we see the National League's Shohei Ohtani, but if he can just play second base, that's fine too. I'm all right with seeing that, and I can't imagine there's that much competition for the guy. My how about that is a guy who has saw a new change of scenery. Michael A. Taylor. So he's hitting 370 with a 1022 OPS this year, and he has hit safely in all 7 games he's played in. So very good statistics, probably nothing you can rely on too long. Although he's actually, according to Baseball Savant, probably getting a little bit unlucky. His expected WOBA is 110 points higher than his actual WOBA, and his expected slugging is 261 points higher than his actual slugging. So everything is up.
He's getting very unlucky, actually.
Yeah, extremely unlucky. And his average exit velocity this year is crazy. It's 96 point something. Those things go down, but if he's hitting the ball this well, this early, then it might be a sign of some improvement this year. Not saying he's necessarily going to be like a guy in the MVP conversation or anything, but he's the guy that might be a key piece for the Royals, this year and in the next few years if he continues to hit the ball as well as he is. So now on to from the highs to the lows, where we're talking about players or teams, general subjects that are doing poorly as of late and should be doing better. Here's the April 12th, 2021 edition of
Slightly Alarming.
So who do you got to highlight?
So this is going to be a little bit dated because this guy is actually playing right now. So
Okay.
his slash line that I'm about to state is probably going to be a little different when this episode comes out. But as of now, Marcell Ozuna has not been very good for the Braves. I mean, he was a huge offseason signing. We kind of agreed that signing Marcell Ozuna was the reason that there weren't any contract negotiations with Freddie Freeman. So the assumption is that the Braves were going for it this year by signing Ozuna. And what he's done in return is slash 125, 222, 125, 355. So, yeah, on the season. So he has not had an extra base hit yet, that's slightly alarming in itself. I believe he led the league in extra base hits last year, or he at least was up there. Not one yet this season. So that's been an issue for Ozuna, and it's been an issue for the Braves because they're 4-4. They lost the first 4 games of the season, so I guess it's been a little better recently. But his expected stats aren't particularly great either. His xWOBA is in the 8th percentile. His expected batting average is in the 6th percentile. His xSlugging is in the 3rd percentile. Mind you, his xSlugging last year, 98th percentile. It's gone down to the 3rd percentile right now. And his K rate is in the 10th percentile after it was in the 48th last year. So Marcell Ozuna, I'm going to need to see more.
Yeah, very bad start for that guy. A guy I'm looking at is someone who, he's not necessarily an established name, but he had a very good year last year, an 886 OPS last year, and was one of the key components of the Blue Jays lineup. And this year, he's not looking like one of those guys. And in fact, looking like someone who might get taken out of the lineup whenever George Springer comes back. Rowdy Tellez, he is currently 0 for 21 with 8 strikeouts. And of his 13 balls in play, only 1 has been a line drive, and 6 of those 13 balls in play had 0.10 expected batting averages or less. And yes, I mean or less. There was one that he had that had a 0.000 expected batting average, which is
that even possible?
It's extremely rare. It said it was a pop out.
I need to see this.
I forget which game it was, but I don't know. They might have been facing the Rangers. I'm not sure. But I was surprised to see that as well. But yeah, he's doing pretty poorly right now. He's obviously 0 for 21. His expected stats, make him look like he's a guy who should be going around, should be having those types of numbers. So yeah, maybe a concern for the Blue Jays. So that does it for
Slightly Alarming.
And now on to a preview of the week ahead, the next grouping of series that we have to talk about. I'm looking at one in particular. Are you looking at that one?
I'm looking at one particular matchup tomorrow. If you go through the matchups, you're going to know exactly which one it is.
Is it Garrett Cole versus Robbie Ray?
Of course it is Garrett Cole versus Robbie Ray. Ray Day is tomorrow. He's going up against Garrett Cole. We're going to see strikeouts. We're going to see walks. We're going to see probably nothing in between, just those two things, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Thankfully, the Red Sox game is in the afternoon, so we can get we can get Yankees Blue Jays at night. The series I'm looking at is, a team that we highlighted. It's the Red Sox, and I feel like they're getting a big test in a 4-game set against the Twins on the road as well. It's their first tough matchup on the road, and it's their first matchup out of the division since 2019, or out of the East section since 2019. And they're facing the Twins. They're going to face some good pitching as well. So Monday is Perez versus Happ, with the Red Sox having Martin Perez, Twins having J.A. Happ. Tuesday is Eovaldi versus Maeda, very good matchup. Wednesday, Erod versus Jose Barrios, who's had a very good year in his 2 starts. And lastly, on Thursday, it's Garrett Richards versus Michael Pineda. If the Red Sox take 3 out of 4 in this one, I'm saying they might be legit. This could be a thing that could show whether they're legit or not. If they lose 3 out of 4, I wouldn't necessarily say they're frauds, but I think this is something that could maybe solidify the Red Sox as a potential threat.
I'll talk about a series. I talked about one particular matchup, but I'll get an entire series. The Reds and Giants start a series in San Fran tomorrow night tonight, I guess, on Monday. Both teams are 6-3. They've been going pretty far under the radar. The Reds, I guess not the Reds as much because their offense has been very potent. The Giants in particular, though, I think both of these teams have a lot to prove in this series. And on Monday night, it's Wade Miley going for the Reds against Aaron Sanchez for the Giants. And then on Tuesday, it is Luis Castillo versus Kevin Gausman. That's pretty much ace versus ace. And it looks like it's a 3-game series. And then on Wednesday, you have my guy to watch on the Reds, Tyler Mahle, going up against Johnny Cueto, who has had an excellent first couple of starts in 2021.
Yeah, and I guess I'll point out a particular matchup, or actually there's 2 very good matchups on Tuesday that I'm seeing. One I definitely don't have to explain why this is intriguing. You got Bieber versus Giolito Tuesday night, and you also have Steven Strasburg versus Jack Flaherty slightly preceding that on Tuesday night. So
Tuesday's the big night for matchups.
Also Kyle Hendricks versus Brandon Woodruff, and I guess 2 guys that are definitely good. One definitely better than the other. Max Fried versus Pablo Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe that doesn't kick the tires as much as the previous 3. But yeah, some good pitching matchups. You can rely on those earlier in the season because guys are on a rotation more consistently now.
It's very fun when you get to August. You have like a Garrett Cole facing the number 4 pitcher in like the Orioles rotation.
Yeah, there's basically guaranteed wins.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that leads to the conclusion of the episode. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we had video for this one, even though we're both on campus. We do have video for this one. Yeah. It is on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Follow us on social media. I am at Chris_Gianta on Twitter. Daniel is Daniel_Curran on both Twitter and Instagram. And follow this show Instagram as well, at Above Replacement Radio. So we hope you enjoyed this one, and we will see you later this week, where we're going to be reviewing the series we talked about, all the news, and previewing the weekend. See you then.